What's up? What's up? Let's talk about building a custom Airbnb and why you would do it in 2023. Before I go all into that, let's just lay it out there and I will beg for it. Subscribe, like. It supports the channel. You know, it's not easy on a nice Friday to be sweating and giving you guys high quality content. And this is. So hit that like and subscribe to my boy. Or girl, whatever. So let's go. Let's talk about custom Airbnbs. Why would you not just buy a house? Like, it's so easy to buy a house. Why would you build one? And the answer is because of what just happened in the last 2 years. The Airbnb boom leading into the Airbnb bust. Like, what did people do? People just pig-piled into major markets like Phoenix, Gatlinburg, the easy to enter Joshua Trees of the world. And they just bought up anything they could get their hands on and maybe made it nicer, but they still just bought existing inventory. Like, that's the easy thing to do in Airbnb, is to buy existing inventory. And that can leave you susceptible to saturation and other people following you into a market that's on a top 10 list on AirDNA. But if you build, even if it's in one of these markets that may look saturated or may not look super profitable, if you build, you can build the perfect product. If you want to follow or see another guy that analyzes this, the guy John Bianchi, the head data guy of TechVestor, I believe, he has a video talking about how the average revenue of a unique, interesting Airbnb is up to 300% that of a normal Airbnb, which is crazy. A 2-bed, 2-bath that is unique and interesting can make 3 times that of an average 2-bed and bath you could go acquire, which means the numbers will be way better, even if they cost more. Just to give you an example, I built a new build at $450 and someone else built a new build at $440. I put a geodome, they did not. I earned $90,000 with good furnishings and photos. They earned $30,000 with poor furnishings and photos. So, like, you can really outcompete people with a perfect product. And it's easier to use a new build to dominate a market, become one of those top 10, top 1 units. So much easier with a new build. It just takes time. So if you're willing to wait up to 12 months to get the perfect Airbnb, there might be a recession. You could wait out part of that. You know, there's benefits to this. If you can wait to build the perfect Airbnb, you can get a unit that's more guaranteed to earn long-term. That's my strategy. That's how I'm going to deploy this $200,000 from my seller financing deal. And watch the seller financing video if you haven't. But I'm going to deploy money in 2023 building new custom Airbnbs. Airbnbs that blow people's minds, that are custom built for Airbnbs. Maybe they would work out as a long-term rental, underwritten as a break-even, but they're custom built for unbelievable experiences. And if you go and buy an Airbnb and try to compete with me, you will lose. Because I built it from the ground up for your guests, and you retrofitted your older house for these specific target guests. So my advice is, it's not as scary as you think. There's some simple steps involved to build a house. It's not rocket science. I knew nothing about building a house 2 years ago, and now I'll build 6 more this year. Right? It's simply have an idea. What would a cool house look like to you? What would you and your friends like? What are some ways to make it really unique? Find a builder and a financier that can make that happen. By picking up the phone. I found my builder by looking at who are the top Airbnbs in my market, realizing one was a new build, and I messaged the owners on Airbnb. I said, your house is gorgeous, it's amazing. Like, who built it? They gave me the builder's name. I built one down the street that outcompeted these people. And so people will tell you who built something that they have. Or if you call realtors, or you'll start picking up the phone, you'll find out what general contractors in the area that you want to launch in work and what the timelines are, which can be long. It can be 1 to 4 years to build one. And there's some contractor risk, right? You need a reliable person that's not going to string it on for a lot of years or have cost overruns. But if you can solve those problems, building a house is way simpler than the average host thinks. But it's something that's hard enough that most people are not doing it, which is why it makes more money. Where the average acquisition of an Airbnb that's on the market today, you'll earn 10 to 15% on the money you put down if you're lucky, if you manage it yourself. But if you build a new house, you can earn 20% plus by getting some of that unique premium, that 300% revenue, you know, my 100K per year revenue versus maybe the 30, 40 I would make if I was a basic 2-bedroom. By being an epic 2-bedroom with a tent in the backyard. So follow this advice in 2023 if you want to make money. If you want to buy an Airbnb in 2023 and have it make any decent amount of money, you have to build it yourself. I'm about to give you all the secret soup on how you build and crush it on Airbnb. But if you want to drink that soup, you gotta like, you gotta subscribe, hook it up, the cook, pay the cook the respect of clicking the like and subscribe button. Here's how you build a house. Building a house is scary, and it's frankly a lot of steps. Like, you don't have to go that far. Like, you can add structures that aren't that expensive, like a canvas tent on a deck in your backyard, add occupancy and add significant value. So if you're scared off the idea of building a whole house, you don't have to. Build a fire pit, build a gazebo, build a treehouse in your backyard. Hire a contractor to build something that adds value to your Airbnb in 2023. So why would you build a house for Airbnb? Well, when you acquire a house, you want a house that is fairly well designed for Airbnb. But the problem is when people build houses for themselves to live in, it's not really well engineered as a vacation rental. So when you build it, you get to understand for this exact target guest and relative to my competitors, what do I need to produce for the perfect experience? You get to guarantee this unique, amazing experience. The views, quality is perfect, and it's a lot easier to manage early on since there's almost no maintenance or it's covered by your builder for the first 2 years. So given that it's easier remotely to run a new build and it makes a lot more money, that's why I think new builds are worth doing. So people ask me, like, what are the steps? This sounds so hard. Like, how do you build a house for Airbnb? And it's actually a lot easier than you would think. It starts with a design, an idea, a location that you have, right? I like mountain places near national parks. I found one near the city that I lived in and ran the numbers. I found a builder. He told me who to use as a lender, and I brought him my idea, and we turned it into a plan, the designs for a house. And then he produced the estimate for building that house. We took those two things to the bank. They approved me under investment loan, and I put 20% down, and then I built a house, and the bank lent me the money. I paid interest until it was done, and then I bought a bunch of furniture and I set it up. So I personally did not build a house. My general contractor did, his subs did. I had other people execute an idea I had and had other people finance it. That's how you build a house. So how can you do this yourself? How do you find a general contractor, and how do you find a bank that'll finance it? Well, let's start with a general contractor, and just like a lot of things in real estate, this requires picking up the phone. Before I did that, I did some research. I looked up Airbnbs. There was a new build that did well. I found out who built it, right? I picked up the phone and I called the builder, and I said, I want you to build something cooler than this Airbnb that you built. And he goes, that sounds great. What are your ideas, right? I started with some crazy UFO themed house. He told me why that wasn't feasible given the constraints that the bank has. They have to appraise the house for what you're building it for, right? The bank has to know they can sell it for what you're building it at. If you build something crazy out of the box, the bank might not recoup their money. So you have to play this game. I want the most unique, cool thing I can get for an amount that the bank will finance. So your GC and you, however you found them, by picking up the phone, by getting recommendations from agents, from other owners, from other builders, you find the GC, you validate them, and you take these ideas and you put them through the great filter of your GC. Like, how do I do something like that's like a UFO? How do we finance that? They'll tell you how to do it. They'll tell you what bank they prefer to use, which is your starting point for the financier. In my situation, it was a rural location where a local rural bank would have the local appraisers that could help us play this game. We could build at the top of the price per square foot and have it appraised at that amount because we're building these unique structures that cost extra. So my builder knows the bank. They have the appraiser who knows the comps in the area that can make this work on paper to get the approval to go. And from there, you're building, you're breaking ground, and you're just getting pictures and watching and choosing finishes as your builder gets this done for you. I can actually help you with this process. I help people all the time find a GC, create a plan, a strategy, and execute it. I'm doing a bunch more new builds myself. So if you want to partner up, I offer coaching, consulting, a group mastermind program aimed at helping people build custom builds in 2023 and crush the competition. So just know I'm out there, but there's also free content that I give you that can help you do it yourself if you just want to learn. I do offer free consults too. So if you want to chat with me, you can grab 15, 30 minutes in the Calendly link listed in the description under this video.